The Henderson family had been dreaming of this for years. A fresh start in the countryside, far from the noise of the city. Their new home was perfect. A sprawling, old Victorian mansion with towering spires, ivy crawling up the stone walls, and an attic so large it felt like its own world. For the kids, Emma and Jack, it was a playground full of forgotten treasures, creaky floorboards, and mysteries waiting to be discovered. From the very first night, however, the house began to feel different. It wasn't just the typical sounds of an old home. No, these noises were more deliberate. Faint footsteps echoed through the hallways, as if someone were softly pacing in the room above. At first, Mr. and Mrs. Henderson dismissed it. Old houses make noises, they said. It's just the house settling. But Emma knew better. On the second night, she swore she saw something, just for a moment, a shadow slipping behind the tall, dusty wardrobe in the corner of the attic. It was quick, like a flicker in the corner of her eye, but enough to make her stop cold. She told her parents, of course, but they laughed it off. After all, shadows don't move on their own, right? As the days passed, the strange occurrences only escalated. Emma found an old portrait buried beneath some broken boxes in the attic, an eerie painting of a young girl. The girl in the portrait looked shockingly familiar. Dark hair, almond-shaped eyes. Emma stared at the painting for what felt like hours. It was like looking into a mirror, but older, from another time. Toys began moving by themselves. Small things at first. Jack's toy train left in one corner of the room would somehow find its way to the center by morning. Dolls that had been boxed up appeared on chairs or in bed. At night, they began to hear whispers. Not loud, not aggressive, but persistent, as if someone or something was calling from the walls. Then there was Jack. He was always a deep sleeper, but one night, Mrs. Henderson woke up to find his bed empty. Panicked, she searched the house and found him, barefoot, standing in the attic. His eyes were open but glazed, his voice low, as if talking to someone they couldn't see. "They want me to stay," Jack whispered, his voice distant and strange. "They like me, they want friends."
The Hendersons were rattled now. This was beyond house settling. Desperate for answers, they began researching the history of the home. What they uncovered shook them to their core. Decades ago, children had mysteriously vanished from the house. Neighbors spoke in hushed tones about the disappearances, but no one could explain where the children had gone. But that wasn't the worst part. The missing children, each one, looked like Emma and Jack. They had the same dark hair, the same almond-shaped eyes. As the pattern became clear, so did the horrifying truth: this house, it wasn't just haunted. It was alive. And it was searching for new playmates. The more time Emma and Jack spent in the house, the more it seemed to bond with them, drawing them deeper into its shadowy embrace. The whispers were growing louder now, the toys more animated, and the attic, always the attic, called to them both. The Hendersons were running out of time. The house had chosen its next victims. And it wasn't going to let them leave.